Hey folks, it's Sarah here, and I'm so excited to show you today some footage of a trip I took recently to Ohio. My husband, my son, and I took a much needed vacation, break vacation to visit some family in Ohio, and then a little time relaxing in a cabin in the woods. So we went to Columbus and stayed 2 nights in German Village in Columbus, which is a wonderful neighborhood. And then we spent a few nights in the Hocking Hills area where we did a little bit of hiking. And while we were in Columbus, I got to fulfill a long-held dream of mine, actually two long-held dreams of mine that I was able to cross off in one go, and that was to visit 2 amazing bookstores that I've been wanting to go to for a very long time, both in German Village in Columbus. So I thought I'd show you some snippets of my time visiting those great bookstores, as well as a little bit of time in the woods in Hocking Hills. So first up was my visit to $2 Radio's headquarters in Columbus. It was only about a 5-minute walk from the Verbo coach house where we were staying in Columbus, and I have to admit that was part of the reason we picked the place that we were staying. $2 Radio is a family-run independent publisher, opened in 2005 and run by Eric Obanoff and Aaron Wood Obanoff. And they publish really bold, fresh, brilliant literary books. They also, I believe, produce some films, and best of all, they have a physical bookstore located in Columbus where you can go, and they have all of their books that they publish, but they also carry a great selection of books published by other independent publishers. And on top of all of that, they have an incredible vegan cafe there as well. I walked over one morning while the rest of my family went and found a playground to play on, and I spent some time browsing, and I got some coffee and a cookie, and I picked up a great stack of books, some that I went in knowing that I was going to pick up, and some that I discovered while I was there. I felt so lucky that I got to visit. I'm going to show you my $2 Radio book haul. Most of them are published by $2 Radio, but I did pick up an extra unexpected treasure as well. So we have The Book of X by Sarah Rose Etter. And The Book of X tells the tale of Cassie, a girl born with her stomach twisted in the shape of a knot. From childhood with her parents on the family meat farm to a desk job in the city to finally experiencing love, she grapples with her body, men, and society, all while imagining a softer world than the one she's in. Twinning the drama of the everyday, school-age crushes, paying bills, the sickness of parents, with the surreal, rivers of thighs, men for sale, and fields of throats, Cassie's realities alternate to create a blurred, fantastic world of haunting beauty. And I also picked up My Volcano by John Elizabeth Stinson. And this says, on June 2nd, 2016, a protrusion of rock growing from the Central Park Reservoir is spotted by a jogger. 3 weeks later, when it finally stops growing, it's nearly 2.5 miles tall and has been determined to be an active volcano. As the volcano grows and then looms over New York City, an 8-year-old boy in Mexico City finds himself transported 500 years into the past, where he witnesses the fall of the Aztec Empire. A Nigerian scholar in Tokyo studies a folktale about a woman of fire who descends a mountain and destroys an entire village. A white trans writer in Jersey City struggles to write a sci-fi novel about a thriving civilization on an impossible planet. A nurse tends to Syrian refugees in Greece while grappling with the trauma of living through the bombing of a hospital in Kunduz, Afghanistan. A nomadic farmer in Mongolia is stung by a bee, magically transforming him into a green, thorned, flowering creature that aspires to connect every living thing into its consciousness. Not Dark Yet, a novel by Barrett Ellingson. Brandon leaves his boyfriend in the city for a quiet life in the mountains after an affair with a professor ends with Brandon being forced to kill a research animal. It is a violent, unfortunate episode that conjures memories from his military background. In the mountains, his new neighbors are using the increased temperatures to stage an agricultural project in an effort to combat globally heightened food prices and shortages. Brandon gets swept along with their optimism while simultaneously applying to a new astronaut training program. However, he learns that these changes, internal, external, are irreversible. A Door Behind a Door by Yelena Moskovich. In Yelena Moskovich's spellbinding new novel, we meet Olga, who immigrates as part of a Soviet diaspora of 91 to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There she grows up and meets a girl and falls in love, beginning to believe she can settle down. But a phone call from a bad man from her past brings to life a haunted childhood in an apartment building in the Soviet Union, an unexplained murder in her block, a supernatural stray dog, and the mystery of her beloved brother Mosh, who lost an eye and later vanished. We get pulled into Olga's past as she puzzles her way through an underground Midwestern Russian mafia in pursuit of a string of mathematical stabbings. New Animal by Ella Baxter. Amelia Aurelia is approaching 30 and her closest relationships other than her mother are through her dating apps. She works at the family mortuary business as a cosmetic mortician with her eccentric stepfather and older brother, whose thruple's current preoccupation is with what type of snake to adopt. When Amelia's affectionate mother passes away without warning, she's left without anchor. Fleeing the funeral, she seeks solace with her birth father in Tasmania and stumbles into the local BDSM community where her riotous attempts to belong are met with confusion, shock, and empathy. Those are all the books that are $2 Radio published books that I picked up. But every time I visit a bookstore, I love to pick up a book, or I try to pick up a book that is a staff recommendation. And this book from Europa Editions had a tag on it recommending it. So I decided to pick it up. It's called You Deserve Nothing. It's by Alexander Maksik. Set in Paris at an international high school catering to the sons and daughters of wealthy families, You Deserve Nothing is a gripping story of power, idealism, and morality. William Silver is a talented and charismatic young teacher whose unconventional methods raise eyebrows among his colleagues and superiors. His students, however, are devoted to him. His teaching of Camus, Faulkner, Sartre, Keats, and other kindred souls breathes life into their sense of social justice and their capacities for philosophical and ethical thought. But unbeknownst to his adoring pupils, Silver proves incapable of living up to the ideals he encourages in others. Emotionally scarred by failures in his personal life and driven to distraction by the City of Light's overpowering carnality and beauty, Silver succumbs to a temptation that will change the course of his life. His fall will render him a criminal in the eyes of some, and all too human in the eyes of others. I will say one thing about $2 Radio. Their covers have the most luxurious, amazing textures and weight to them. I love them, especially this one, New Animal. It's just so smooth, but also I don't know, it just feels great. So the day after I visited $2 Radio, I had just enough time after a much long-awaited visit with my grandparents to hop into the Book Loft, which in terms of vibe is almost the exact opposite of $2 Radio. So while $2 Radio is this beautiful, bright, open, airy, funky space, the Book Loft is a 32-room labyrinth bursting at the seams with every kind of book you could possibly want or imagine. So it was a rainy day, but I got to pop in for a bit and I actually got lost. My son and my husband stayed in the car while I was supposed to go in for a quick visit. I was in there for about an hour and I bought a huge stack of books, most of which were for my son, but I did buy a few for myself, including, where did they go? I bought a huge stack of books, most of which were for my son because I felt so bad that I had left him waiting in the car with his dad for so long and that I hadn't bought him anything from $2 Radio and the huge stack of books I bought there the day before. But I did pick up 3 more books for myself, including Jane Austen's Persuasion, which I haven't read, and I loved this version with this cover a lot, so I picked that up. Also Hamnet, which I read and adored last year, but I read it on the Kindle and I wanted a hard copy of it, so I got that. And then the brilliant Elena Ferrante, another book from Europa Editions. This is The Lying Life of Adults. That's the powerful new novel by Elena Ferrante. 14-year-old Giovanna is searching for her reflection in 2 kindred cities that fear and detest one another. Naples of the heights, which wears a mask of refinement, and Naples of the depths, a place of carnality and passion, where her guide is the unforgettable Aunt Vittoria. I read the word mask now, and even though mask in this sense isn't referring to the face mask, that's all I can think of when I see that word now. I wonder how long that'll last, probably a while. So if you visit Columbus, you absolutely must go visit these 2 bookstores. They are fabulous, and I can't wait to go back. After Columbus, we journeyed about 2 hours away to Hocking Hills for some much needed time in the forest. Hocking Hills State Park is located in southeastern Ohio, and it features towering cliffs and beautiful waterfalls and deep gorges and trails under the shade of the hemlocks. There are 7 main trail areas. It's very kid-friendly. We focused on only 3 of the trails. We went to Ash Cave, Cedar Falls, and Old Man's Cave, and those are really short and they're great for little kids. We actually did each of those trails twice with my son. The first time through, he's excited and we're excited and he's running, and then, we finish the trail and have enough time to go back and do it again, and this time take it more leisurely and put our phones down and let our son walk a bit ahead of us and feel some independence, and just take the time to enjoy more of the details around us on the trails. Spring is a perfect time to go because the waterfalls are full and flowing, and it wasn't hot, and there weren't too many bugs, if any bugs really bothering us on the trails. Columbus is such a cool city, and Ohio is a beautiful, beautiful place to visit. My son has grown up in flat as can be Chicago, so even just the act of driving over a hill and feeling that flop in your stomach was a completely new experience to him. I cannot recommend visiting the Book Loft and $2 Radio enough. It was a great spring break destination, an easy drive from Chicago, but it felt a complete world away. I hope you'll continue to join me here. I love talking about books published by independent publishers and university presses and indie bookstores too. So if you love that kind of thing, I hope you'll hit subscribe. In the meantime, I'm gonna go read a book, and I hope you do too. Bye.